Husband met high school crush and got jealous when I did too. Recently, an old classmate of both my husband and me, who also happens to be an old crush of his and is now married, called him and asked if she could come over for tea. I wasn't thrilled about it, but I agreed anyway. That evening, they talked and talked, while her husband and I made small talk. My husband had this light in his eyes that he doesn't have when he talks with me. They were chatting so excitedly, even bringing up the topic of his old crush on her. They ended up staying over for the night, but I tried not to dwell on my thoughts and doubts about his loyalty. I've known her for a long time too. She, my husband, and I were in the same class from 2nd to 12th grade. She was singled out when we both went to the same university, and that's when our relationship started. I was never really her friend, but my husband was always close to her. I never really looked into what happened between them and never bothered until now. I might be feeling insecure, or maybe just mood swings, but even the next morning they were as energetic as ever. Me and her husband felt slightly uncomfortable. He had gone and dropped them, and he suddenly became very somber and quiet. He is usually like that, but then he acted like his beacon of light had just been taken away. I feel like he settled for me, someone who was familiar and earned more than him. I'm also pretty average, in comparison to her, who now works as a stylist for big celebrities and stars and sometimes even models. She was also extremely popular in school, if my memory ain't mistaken. This entire incident also reminded me of a few letters and drawings he had made for her back then, which he still kept pictures of in a folder on his desktop. I had come across it before but didn't want to question him about it. Now, though, I feel like someone who was married out of fear of loneliness, rather than love. I don't know how to communicate with him about this. While I understand that reconnecting with an old friend might be exciting for him, he noticeably singled me out during their conversation. He never defended me when she made a comment about how I was quite a forgettable person and was never involved in all the fun they had. This made me feel even more isolated and undervalued. It's been weighing heavily on me, and I feel hurt and neglected. I'm struggling to figure out how to bring this up with him without sounding accusatory or overly emotional. I want to express how his actions and her comments affected me, but I'm unsure how to approach the conversation in a way that will make him understand my perspective. A day after this, I decided to go outside and cash with my friends too. We all live in different places, so it took around 3 weeks for the whole plan to be made. We went to a beach and restaurant. It was only us, no children or spouses involved. Not exactly a crush, but one of my exes was in the group. Since we ended it on peaceful terms and had a very chill relationship, we got along fairly well without any tension or problems. My husband hadn't texted me or called me during that period, but later in the evening, I had worn one of those white sundresses I kept for him since our honeymoon for a small after-party that we had. As soon as I had posted it, I got a call from him, and he kept arguing with me about why I had worn that specific dress, telling me it was apparently very special to our relationship. I didn't want to ruin my mood, so I just cut the call. Now that I've returned home, he seems even more moody than ever, and because of his attitude I rejected his advances, and he acts even more pissed off. For further info, we've been married for 2 years now. No children. TLDR, husband rekindles with old crush and makes me feel like he settled for me. I went out for a reunion, and he got pissed off. Comment. Virtual choir boy. First, neither of you are mind readers, so the only real solution here is to talk to him about everything. How letting his crush come over, him and his crush both effectively ignoring their partners for hours, him letting his crush insult you in your own home, and how he acted after they left. I would also ask him to spell out how that dress was very special, and when it was that he communicated that to you because, as far as you knew, it was something old that you owned and nothing else. And finally, you need to be clear about specifically why you're rejecting his advances. I know that for a lot of people in relationships, attitude matters just as much as attraction in the bedroom, and a poor attitude from either partner can make getting in the mood simply impossible. I know, it's a lot, and you might even want to write down the major points you want to talk about so that you don't forget them. It's not going to be an easy conversation, but it's a necessary one if you want to get through to a resolution of some kind. Edit. For those like you /Thethard 725 that missed it, Op did not go plan a date with their ex the day after. Op started planning a group outing where the ex was one member of that group, and it took 3 weeks before everyone actually got together. Not exactly a crush, but one of my exes was in the group. It took around 3 weeks for the whole plan to be made. In the end, that doesn't change my answer. Op and husband need to talk this through. Efficient Yellow 9765. He keeps bringing up me wearing that dress. Honestly, I didn't even give a thought about my ex while packing that dress. I just thought it looked good for the party. How do I confront my boyfriend about knowing he was unfaithful with his gym partner? He doesn't know I know. When we met, I was aware of his gym partner who happens to be female, and I was fine with it. I'm not a jealous person, and I have male friends who are strictly friends and have gone to the gym with them too. We've only been dating for 6 months, and we both realized we needed some healing from our past relationships. So we decided to take a break and focus on ourselves. However, we both agreed to stay exclusive and not seek out other people or go on dating apps. He assured me he had no desire to, and I felt the same way. It's been only 3 weeks since we decided to take a break, and he invited me over yesterday to spend the day and night with him. We cuddled on the couch, kissed like we used to, watched movies, and even ended up having sex. Throughout the day, he kept telling me how much he misses me and loves me, making it seem like he genuinely wanted to reconnect and rekindle our relationship. Later that night, he left his phone open on a text to his gym partner when he went to the kitchen, and I saw pictures of him holding alcohol. He doesn't drink at all. It was the picture that caught my eye. Then I saw the conversation where she asked for petty sex, and they were having a sexual conversation. He went over to her house. Before anyone gives me grief about looking at his phone, I know I shouldn't have, but I did. Nothing I can do now. I found out after having sex with him, and I feel utterly betrayed. I will see him again on Saturday, and I want to bring this up to him. I'm torn about how to approach it. One idea I had was to do something sweet and romantic to set the stage, and then lay it on him at the end. I have the screenshots as evidence. If that's not the best approach, I'm looking for advice on how to bring this up peacefully. I'm struggling to understand how he can do all our couple activities, say he loves me and misses me, while having done all that behind my back. It's deeply confusing and hurtful. I know I deserve better and have higher standards than to be treated this way. I want to end things, but I need to find the right way to confront him about his betrayal. FLDR, my boyfriend cheated on me with his gym partner. He doesn't know I know. I want to bring it up to him.